All right, Miss Hall. So this is our 5th coaching session together, and I just wanted to first give you a kudos. Definitely on your commitment to the face-to-face feedback. I think back to our first session and going through the calendaring and all of that, and so really just committing to what research shows to be the best practice in moving teachers. You've done very well with that.
Thank you.
So thinking about the video of Mr. Brown, okay? Tell me, how did you feel when you heard him say that aggressive monitoring, how he liked it, and so he had to stick with it? Tell me a little bit about that.
That was an awesome feeling. And to watch his face and to know that he was really giving me a sincere answer, it validated what we're doing. Yeah. And it validated, you know, because you step out there, you don't really know how it's going to be received or if it's going to do what you intended. You know in your mind what you wanted to do, but you're not sure. Right. So for him to say that, yes, and I can't stop, the kids won't let me stop. Yeah. And I just felt awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I wanted to celebrate that point of praise. So let's think back to our last coaching session. Okay. So there were 2 things that we talked about. One was a level of preparation for those face-to-face, kind of scheduling those out, right? Mm-hmm. And then the second thing was related to highest action lever for yourself. Okay. And that being centered around getting the teachers to kind of uncover or surface their own gap, right? Okay. So based on the video you sent me, the scheduling preparation was definitely evident, right? Okay. Even though it was right before spring break, we managed to fit in that time. I observed him and you were able to give feedback face to face. Let's focus on the latter thing, if that's all right.
Yes.
Okay? So walk me through your process for planning for your last meeting with Mr. Brown, and what did you specifically do in advance?
How did I know that was going to be your question? So I used the waterfall first.
Okay.
Oh, I have it marked.
Okay.
So I went to the waterfall and I went to where he was. We did the aggressive monitoring.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, that's going well. I wasn't really ready to go on with on this side with the rigor trajectory yet.
Sure.
So I went over here to the management, and what I noticed was the teacher radar.
Awesome.
And then I'm like, that coupled with this would be awesome. So I just kind of did a lateral thing, and I went over here and I looked at the scanning the room for on-task behavior. And I thought coupled with the aggressive monitoring, that would even give him that added leverage that he needed in this room. So then I went to the Get Better Faster.
I like how you have it tagged by teacher where they're at.
But I don't think I did it for him this time. But what I did, let me see, I'm on the management trajectory and I'm in phase 2. So let's go to phase 2. I think I kind of figured out the book by this next time. So
you're good.
So phase 2, is this it? So we went to phase 2. There it is. Teacher radar.
Sure.
And so I read all of the action steps, and I read through that, what we needed to do, what I needed to do, how I needed to prepare for it. And then I went over to, there are some actual, here they are, I'm passing them.
Okay.
There are actual questions that they already give me for the teacher radar. Now in here it said watch the video. We didn't watch a video, which might have been a good thing to do, but I kept trying to get to the video. I haven't even watched the video myself.
So what you're telling me is you recorded his class?
No, he didn't want me to do that.
Oh, okay.
I asked, I have pictures of his class.
Okay.
But he wasn't ready for his class to be video. No, I think it's on here.
Oh, okay. Okay. So he would have watched the clip of the aggressive monitoring.
But I think you're right. They were supposed to watch a class video, and then he was supposed to identify. So I knew that part wasn't going to be there. So I just, I'd have to look at my sheets to see what I plugged in. The plan was to do the video of his class. And
okay.
So
you didn't get to the video, but what were you able to kind of plan out? So you didn't plan for the video, but you did plan for some other things. Kind of walk me through those things.
Well, at first I had the video clip in there, and then I had the question, at what moment did you first see the students be off track? Mm-hmm. And those were in there. But then when that wasn't going to happen, I went back, and I just talked about when you were aggressive monitoring, and we talked about how that was. And I had him explain to me while he was aggressive monitoring on this side of the room, kind of what was going on the other side of the room. And, I think, I have to go back and look at the video too. I think then I just had him take his whole class, and on a scale from 1 to 5, those that are always on target, doing what they're supposed to do, and those who lose focus very easily.
Sure.
And rated them from a 1 to a 5.
Right, you did that.
So I had him do that, and then we only took our 4s and 5s, and I gave him sticky notes, and he went and placed those sticky notes on the 4s and 5s. And we kind of talked about how when those children are left unattended, you know, what happens when they're left unattended. And that took the place of the video. And then after he did that, we just kind of, I explained the shift, what the shift would be. Let's see. I had him identify the hotspots in the lesson, and then I had him position himself in a hotspot. I didn't have him do that.
And position yourself in a hotspot, and then have the teacher begin teaching a portion of a lesson, role play student behavior you want. Okay. Yeah. So
he stood at the front of the class. He's very good. He's very good at playing along with me.
He did.
He stood at the class and he taught, but I didn't have him go over to a hotspot.
So that he could actually mimic what that would be like.
What that would be like, yes. Because I coupled it with aggressive monitoring. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. I think one of the things, just thinking about what you shared with your planning process, the video may have given him a little bit of more insight into kind of uncovering that practice versus his current reality, right?
And I'll let him know that only I'll see that video. Because I think he would do it. He just I don't know.
Maybe he just needs to know the parameters.
And no. And I said, okay. He never tells me no.
Well, you know, I mean, he might have had a valid reason. So, but I think it would be good for him to see, if not his own video, but that one.
Okay.
What I'd like to go back to is, let's think back to that first question that you asked him. I don't know if you recall what it was, but it was related to his thought on the aggressive monitoring and how it went. So based on that little bit of dialogue that you all had at the onset of that video, what would have been the power of you not giving your opinion first, but just asking that initial question to him?
Okay. I think that's a good idea. I think with the praise portion being first, but I think as part of the praise, you're saying in place of the praise, just ask him, hey, how did you think it went first?
No, I think you celebrated the praise. So you mentioned that, you know, I was glad that I came in. I saw aggressive monitoring, that you had made that attempt to do that. That was excellent, right? Your kids seemed to really respond to it. The segue that you went into was what you thought was all the great things about the aggressive monitoring. And then you asked him, so tell me how you think it went. And so
I told him how to feel.
Well, tell me a little bit more about that. What do you think?
Well, I can see, I can see that where it's like I'm leading him, and I do feel like that a lot. Like I'm really leading, and it's like I'm trying not to lead so much. It would have been nice to just hear his response, to get a more maybe genuine response, more accurate, rather than, oh, I know what she wants to hear now.
Absolutely.
So I know what I need to say.
Yeah, I think he kind of, watching the video, was like, oh, yeah, I thought it was. I was like, you just said exactly what she said. Where he might have, now he did pull out our original thought with the perseverance piece, which was good. But I think he might have been able to reveal a little bit more. And the benefit of that could have been you getting a gauge on how does he make connections between a change in practice and what happens in the classroom, right? So if you think about doing that the way we've just talked about, so if you were to modify that and instead you said you get a more authentic response from him, what is the benefit ultimately for him uncovering his own gap?
Well, I mean, it makes it more, there's more buy-in, and it's more realistic, and, the opportunity for growth and him sticking with it. If he knows that, if he's identified it himself as a need, then the sticking with is not a, here they come again and they're going to do it again, and, oh, let me do it for her, or for them, but it's doing it for the benefit of his children.
Sure. And so thinking about that you just shared with that stick with itness, if we'll use that word, that's probably what I'd like us to kind of focus our session on today is let's go through how do we prep a script so that a teacher can uncover their own gap. And we'll practice that together. So based on what we talked about, our most pressing action step is going to be having you practice scripting out feedback for your next face-to-face session with Mr. Brown.
Okay.
And so these are the 3 things that I'd like us to do to get us to that place. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go observe Mr. Brown. We're not going to record that, but we're going to go to his classroom, use the waterfall document. Okay. Second, we're going to come back here and we're going to discuss what is his highest leverage gap.
Okay.
And then third, I want you to script out your feedback. And I'll also have us practice the conversation specifically for that gap ID. I think you're strong with the practice piece, getting him to that. We've talked about how this tool can be used, as a resource to get you to use those video clips that are included in there. Okay. But I don't feel like practice with you. You've always got into the practice, but let's get them to see what that gap is first. Okay. So I can provide you on feedback with that. How does that sound today?
Sounds awesome.
Okay, so we're going to go see Mr. Brown. Okay. I'm going to pause us.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Hall. So we went to Mr. Brown's room and we did not get a chance to see him really delivering instruction or get to see the aggressive monitoring. So we can improvise that. What I suggest is that we go ahead and look at the last face-to-face feedback. Okay. And how that was planned out. To see, like, how could you revamp that to be able to have given him, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
To be able to have given him some, let me restate that. How could you have created a line of questions that would have led to him uncovering the gap himself? Okay. So that's what we want to script out and practice. So you have a copy of the 6 steps. I see you have a handout, but I also, and you probably have another copy. But I have it electronically that I sent to you as well. So
okay, you want me to use the electronic one?
Either, whichever version is fine with you. And as I shared before we walked out, I think that you're solid with getting to that practice point. We just want to be able to capture the scripting so that it leads to the ID of the gap for him.
Okay, let me get that.
And I think for video sake, we don't necessarily need to record maybe you scripting. So we'll pause the video for just a moment. Okay. So that you can script that out, and then we'll go back through and we'll actually practice it ourselves. Okay. Okay. And we're back. Okay, Ms. Hall. So we just finished scripting. Or you just finished scripting your 6 steps to effective feedback for your next face-to-face. Actually, we did a redo of the face-to-face. So what we're going to do now is actually practice that because what we identified as the gap was getting you to uncover that yourself. So I'm going to pretend to be Mr. Brown. I'll talk in a deep voice, and you be yourself, and we'll go through these components, and we'll go through part 3. Okay. Step 3, because we know that the practice based on the video was very solid. So I don't think we need to practice the practice. So we're practicing getting to the uncovering. Okay.
So we're starting with that ID problem?
Let's go, just go straight through. Let's start with the praise like you would.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's go 1, 2, and 3. Praise.
Okay, I hear you. We're doing 1, 2, 3. All right. All right. We set a goal last week of aggressive monitoring. First of all, thank you for agreeing to meet with me today. And we set a goal last week for aggressive monitoring. That was really evident in what you did today, what I witnessed in your class today, and I want to thank you for that. What changes do you see in your classroom since you've implemented aggressive monitoring this week?
Well, one thing that I've noticed is that the kids seem like they're way more on task. You know, when I'm actually at their desk, I see a little bit more work being produced than I have probably in the past.
Oh, that's exciting that you're seeing that. I'm excited that you're seeing that. How do you determine which students you would aggressively monitor first?
So, you know, I have, 20 kids in my class. Sometimes I might do the boy in the corner, Z. He's, you know, he gets off task a little bit, so I kind of like to start with him, and then I just make my way around the room in a circle. You know, I have my, my class set up in that U shape, so I just kind of go in the U shape and just hit every kid order by order. I hadn't really thought too much about, I just went in the order that they sit in.
Okay. Do you think that there will be some benefit in maybe not always going in a patterned order? Do you see some benefit in maybe switching up how you monitor the room and who you go to first? And
so I'm gonna pause this. Okay. And I'm gonna give you feedback.
Okay.
So you don't want to necessarily give him a yes/no response, right? So that question, because he could be like, no.
Okay.
And then it's like, okay, we shut that down. What do I need to pull back?
Okay.
So let's see, how could you rephrase that question so that it's not yes/no.
Okay. Given the dynamics of your classroom, what would be the benefits of planning your route?
Well, yeah, I have a lot of, kids who, a couple of my GT kids, they finish like really quick. And then, Xavier, he'll just pull out the book and start reading. So then I have to get him to put the book up. Then I have the kids who, Jay, he's in there. It takes him a while to really get it done. I have a couple of kids who are tier 3. Maybe I could think about what order to go in, because it could help me not have to worry about this group finishing early and then they're getting bored and they're getting off task. I don't know. I think, there might be some benefits to doing that.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is there might be some benefit in you choosing not necessarily just going in that predictable order. I don't want to use that word, but not going in just the circular order that I've seen you go in. But you've identified some key children, your GT kids, your children that are easily off task, and some behavior problems. So what do you think your next steps would be so that the students can be on task more?
I probably need to figure out that order.
Okay.
I really like the aggressive monitoring. I think the kids like to get the feedback so immediately to know whether, even if they get it wrong, they still like the feedback so that they can self-correct. So I just need to figure out where am I going and kind of when, what order. I think that's what is going to be best.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to pause this from coaching because I want to insert something, a point of praise. I appreciate the way that you rephrased what he said to make sure it was clear.
Okay.
Right? Because I'm pretending to be him based on what I saw in the video. So that was an upgrade that I saw you initiate during our conversation. So well done. Yes. Okay.
Yay. Okay.
And so from there, you would go into identifying, so part 3.
Okay.
So I've now given ownership about, that's my next action step. And so, and go.
So based on what we've talked about today and what you've shared with me, I think it would be it would be good for us to go ahead and practice how to get to those hotspots to ensure you maximize. I want to reword that. Based on what we talked about today, we're going to practice how to get to those hotspots to ensure you maximize your teacher radar as you aggressively monitor.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna stop in our out of practice mode.
Okay.
Because again, like I said, your practice with him was on point. I think that is a big glow. Okay. So now I'm gonna put back my coaching hat on. You put the coaching hat on. Thinking about your prep work before second visit with Brown, the second face-to-face, and then what we just did in this process. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling?
I think I knew my struggle was not guiding so much, and I think now I know how to think through it, because that's really what I was struggling with. I'm like, I have the book. Why am I struggling to come up with these guides? Why am I not able to guide? Why am I just giving? So I think starting, my takeaway is really going to be, what is it that I want them to do? And really own that. Because I think what I'm doing right now is like, well, that's what I think, but we'll see where the conversation goes. But I need to really own, this is where I want them to go. And if I really list those steps for what I want and then start thinking through how am I going to get there. And I really think it's going to be helpful to imagine what he would say. Yeah. In the, and really write that on there too. This is what I think he's going to say. Sure. So that I'm not feeling so like I have to hurry up and rush, and I have to, well, let me just give it to them because we got to get to the practice, you know. We got it. So that's how I think it's going to be beneficial.
I think that's a good takeaway. And so I'm also thinking ahead about the other teachers, right? So Mr. Brown is but one. What are some of the actions that you're going to need to take to make sure that you're able to do what you just shared, that you're able to go through steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, that I'm able to do that backward design with? I'm going to start with what do I want them to practice, and then build my questionings to lead to that. What are you going to have to maybe, what actions are you going to take?
Well, I think that's where I'm going to start, is really more backwards planning, because I really was just starting at the top and working my way down, and then heavy on the part that I was more comfortable with. So I think, I don't know, that's what I'm thinking though, is really just starting with the practice and then creating my questions and looking at the stems. And I think using those stems will be, because I'm in the habit of, I just like to praise. That's what so really, oh, I like that. That's good. Being a cheerleader, when really what I need to be is the coach right now. And so having the stems along with the planning backwards, I think it's going to be beneficial in helping me feel more solid and concrete. And when I go in there, I'm not doing just telling them.
Absolutely. Okay. That's a good discovery. Uncovery is not really a word. Something good that you've uncovered. So do you feel like there's anything currently in place that's keeping you from being able to do this? Being able to have the time to sit down and script out?
No, because I usually, today has been a really calm day, but no, that I don't script here. Right. That is something that I'm going to start. I'm going to calendar it. I even thought about calendaring it this week, but I didn't. I am going to calendar it and see if I can, honor that time here at work. Yes. But, what I want to do is to make sure that I can go home, that I'm looking at it quickly while it's still fresh in my mind and their mind, because I do think I find more benefit when I meet with them the next day, when it's right there. I think that's more beneficial too, and it's a little bit more, they're not having to really try to think back and remember.
Just very fresh.
So I am going to I am going to calendar time after I visit with them. And something that I've started doing, rather than trying to see them all in the same day, for observing and for coaching, it's like, no, we've got to break this up, because it was getting, that was just getting to be helter-skelter too. So I don't know. That's what I plan on doing.
So I'm going to push us to kind of our plan ahead, or kind of some follow-up things. I know that there's several teachers that you're doing this coaching with. I'm going to I'd like us to focus on 3. So Brown, Williams, and our high need pre-K teacher. Okay. And so our next observation, or our next coaching session, is scheduled on Thursday, the 29th, next Thursday. I wondered if that date still works, because I know Teaching Trust, y'all will be out.
We're out the 28th. Let me see.
Okay.
Let me go in though.
So I have some other options if necessary.
That's also something I'm holding myself accountable to, is check in my calendar.
Very.
Before I say, sure. Yes. But that's already calendared, so I know there's nothing else there. But okay. So I have Teaching Trust that day. Oh, you're Thursday? Wait, I must be looking on the wrong day.
The 29th.
Oh, I'm like, oh my God, I don't see it. And that's why. Let me go here. Yes.
Okay.
You're coming at about 9 o'clock.
So does that work still? Okay, so we'll do that. What my thought is that I think video recording is really allowing me to capture your progress, and you keep those videos as well to measure your own. What if we go ahead and have you plan to observe Brown, Williams, and Garnett? I'm sorry, I was supposed to say Garnett. And then have those face-to-face feedback sessions before our next visit. Would it be possible to have the video to me like 2 days before our visit?
Yes, I need to get back to that as well. But let me see. I'm going to, so I'll see them this week. Like, I've already planned to see them. Okay. They're already calendared for this week.
So you would record this face-to-face session. And then you would allow time for your scripting in advance.
And so then I would need to get it to you by Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
By Tuesday. All right. I can do that.
That'll be perfect. So we'll meet next time, and that sounds good. Thank you for letting me video record you too.
Yes.